So you're a darts player who wants to go to Q School, but you're wondering how much will it cost you? Before we fully get into this video, as this is the first video on my channel, I need your guys' help. All I'm asking for before we get into the content is that you please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps kickstart the channel. And for you guys who are darts mad, particularly coming up to the World Championship and want all the latest darts news, trends, reviews, etc., this is the channel you'll want in your day. But yeah, with that being said, let's get into today's video. What's going on, everybody? It's Danny here from Flying My Darts, and today we're going to take you through exactly how much it costs to get you, an aspiring darts player, to Q School in 2023. So I guess the first question to answer is, what exactly is Q School? Q School is a qualifying school that takes amateur players where over the course of a weekend or a few days or a specific tournament, you take amateurs, and then after that period of time you work out who is good enough out of them amateurs to actually go and get a pro tour card. Now for the PDC, anybody can enter, and if you do qualify and do get through, you get a 2-year pro card. Now again, this means anybody, no matter what your average is, you can enter once you pay the fee, which we'll get into in a second. And then once you pay that fee as well, it actually also allows you to compete on the Challenge Tour. So Q School itself happens normally in the second week of January every year, and it always happens in 2 places. The first being for those from outside of the UK and Ireland. That takes place normally in Germany. It's in Kalkar here. It says it's in Wunderland, Kalkar in Germany, and that's for everyone, the rest of Europe kind of qualifiers, where they can get their tour cards. Now the main Q School takes place in the MK Dons Marshall Arena, which is where MK Dons play, and that takes place for every qualifier from the UK, Ireland, and also Gibraltar, as far as I'm aware. Now in terms of the format, there are 3 days or 3 stages, and then over those 3 stages there is a last of 128 every single day. As far as I'm aware, the winner from each of those days automatically gets a tour card, and then after that they calculate the highest people who are left over. And as it says here, players who lose their tour card at the end of the previous year, will be entered into the final stage, along with players in the top 16 from the respective challenge tours or development tours who don't already have tour cards. So you're gonna be one way or another facing players who were just professional or who are on the edge of being professional. It's one of the only sports in the world where you can go as an amateur who's never played in a professional setting and go up against a former world champion in a competitive match. But the real reason we're all here is, how much does it cost to get to Q School? And we'll also work out how much does it cost to get through all the way and become a pro. So the first fee you need to worry about in Q School is, as I said here, is the entry cost. The entry cost is £450 per player, which includes the £50 sanction fee for the DRA, which is the representing body. Now with this £50 fee, this actually gives you access to all the Challenge Tour events as well, where again you can play in their order of merit and hopefully get yourself a tour card by the end of it, or at least enter the final stage of Q School for the following year. So the first fee is £450, which again, for the average person, it really depends on your financial situation. Maybe a lot or maybe nothing at all. Even if it is a lot for yourself, it's something most people can probably save for over the course of a year. But if you're going just for experience, which we'll touch on later, this begs the question of, is it worth it? Now the first big expense after the actual entry fee is travel. Now as you can see, I'm going to do everything in euros because that's my currency, but you can convert it at the end. But with travel, I'm going to do it from my perspective as someone from Ireland who is traveling over to Q School, and thankfully flights aren't too expensive. But we'll also do it if you are someone who lives in Glasgow or Liverpool, etc., So I'm going to have a look on Skyscanner. The nearest airport from Milton Keynes, I presume, would be London Luton, so that's where we're flying into. Now thankfully from Ireland, Ryanair doesn't make it too expensive, but the dates we're looking for are the 9th to the 15th. Now let's just pretend we're going all the way with this, okay? So I'll do the cost for just getting there, and then also if you go the whole way. So the flight would be roughly the same price, give or take, okay? So let's say you don't make it past the first 3 days, you fly over on the 8th and you come back on, let's say, the 12th or 13th. Return flights are only looking at about €30. You know, even if you get there for the whole week, again, so return flights are only €30, which isn't too bad. Then let's say I want to get from Luton Airport to MK itself. Bus is looking here about £7 for the cheapest bus. I'm going to say that's at a specific time, so let's say £10 each way. Okay, so that's our travel expenses. So far it's not looking too bad. With that Ryanair, you can just bring a check-a bag. If you want to check a bag, you're adding another €15, whatever it is. But you know, so far travel seems to be quite light. I'm just gonna also, as I searched here, trains from Glasgow to Milton Keynes. Again, I'm just thinking of places that are quite far away across the UK, are about €25. I can also check Belfast, but as far as I'm aware, the flights will be similar enough in price. So you're going to be spending no more than probably €80 or £75 on flights from Belfast towards London. And then with that, you're looking at the train or the same bus being like £10 each way. So Glasgow train, 25, might be a little bit more than that, but you're looking at maybe £50 all in all for travel if you are actually living in the UK, provided you don't drive yourself. If you drive yourself, you could maybe be spending more on petrol, but either way, I think travel, no matter where you are going to UK Q School, it's probably only going to cost you about €50, £50, that's it. Now, this is probably where people will spend the most amount of money. The next one will be your hotel. And most people are probably going to stay in the actual MK Arena itself. And with that, they have a hotel that actually goes around the stadium, which is really cool. If you've been to Q School, of course, you know all about this. But this is a DoubleTree, it's a Hilton hotel. And looking right now, I'm looking at these prices, and from someone who's from Dublin, these are actually quite cheap compared to what prices are in Dublin. But I know for MK or for Milton Keynes, this may be a little bit expensive. But let's just say we go for the cheapest room, okay? We're looking at £81. If we get all the way, okay, we'll do it in two. If we get all the way, we're looking at £486, which is €567 for the hotel, which is by far our biggest expense. I know you can go for something like a Premier Inn or something local nearby, so I'll check that out as well. Okay, so looking at the map here, I may be wrong with this, but the closest Premier Inn is about a mile and a half away, which is a 10-minute drive, which is probably like a £6 or £7 taxi. So we will factor that into the cost. And looking at the price for this hotel, we'll just go onto it here. We'll click onto it and we'll see exactly what it is we're looking for price-wise. Okay, let's say we go for a full week. It's looking at about €61 a night, which is about €420, give or take. So I'll add that back in. If we go a bit cheaper, it's looking at $420 plus the cost of taxis every day. We're probably getting close to about 400 and let's say just €460 for the cost of the hotel. Okay, now so these costs are if you make it through to the full 6 days. What I'm going to do is be more realistic and say you're someone who's just aspiring to go and you don't make it past day 3. To be honest with you, all we need to do is half these figures. So with them, we'll be looking at about €280 for the hotel in the MK Arena, or you're looking for about 230 if you're outside the arena itself. Another way of saving costs here is if you go with somebody. If you're okay with sharing a room with somebody, you're gonna half that cost again, which does make it a lot more affordable. So let's say you go with your partner or even a friend who's there to support you, or you go with someone else who you know is actually traveling to Q School. So you'll be able to bring that expense all the way down to maybe even €150 for the 3 days. Then the last expenses would be miscellaneous and food. What I have allowed here in my budget is allowing for roughly €150 to €300 for food over the course of those days. And the reason I'm actually allowing for a little bit more is because you may also have to take days off work for this if you haven't already taken them from your annual leave. So all in all, if you're doing Q School by yourself, you stay for the full 6 days and you stay in even the cheapest room in the Milton Keynes Arena itself in the Hilton, you're looking at a whopping €1,800 just for the week of darts. Now I don't know about you, but for a lot of people that's more than they'll spend on a family holiday. If it's your first time and you don't feel like you're going to qualify and you just want to go for the experience and it's your first 3 days, it's probably going to cost you something a little like this. It's going to cost you about €900 give or take. Now if you share on the hotel, it's probably going to work out something between €675 to €700 give or take, depending on what room you go for, the availability, etc, etc. So on average, you're going to have to put aside at least €1,000 for the 3 days you go to Q School. Now, of course, by far the biggest expense in all of this is the actual entry fee. And on top of that, the hotel, if you can find someone you know. If you can travel locally, even better. But again, at a minimum, you're going to have to be putting across the €500. But anything on top of that, you're looking for €300 to €500 extra. So this begs the question, is Q School worth it? Now, the reason I start looking into this myself is because I'm considering going for Q School not in 2023, but in 2024. And on this YouTube channel, as well as TikTok, I'm going to be documenting my journey in a series of vlogging series called Path to Pro, where I take you through every aspect of my journey along the way to becoming, hopefully, a professional darts player. So if you're asking me, should you go? It depends. If you want to go just for the experience, no matter what you average, and you don't feel like you want to actually get a tour card, or you don't feel like you have the capability to do so, and you have the disposable income, I would do it. You're not going to get the professional setup anywhere else. It's as close as you'll ever get if you've never played it before, to playing a professional, to playing in the setup with the scores, the rules, everything to the same regimented system. And it's also going to make you a better player. Now, what does it take to get your tour card is to either, well, get lucky and win a day, which can happen. There have been people to get in there with low enough averages. But if you want to go and compete in Q School, you have to be averaging 80 to 85 consistently. Most averages that get you in there are a combination of wins with the order of merit plus an average of about 85 to 88. Now, don't get me wrong, there have been people who average 100 plus who go home on the first day or the first round of each day. But if you consistently average in the late 80s to mid 90s, you're definitely with a chance of getting your tour card. So as I said, I'm going to be tackling this in a year from now, and my plan is to get my tour card by Q School 2025. But with that being said, if you're averaging in the 30s, 40s, 50s, still, if you want to go and you have the disposable income, go do it. You will never get this experience again. It is phenomenal, and I think you'll meet a lot of players, a lot of people. It's a very welcoming community from what I have seen, from what I have heard. But yeah, if you're on the fence, do it. And if you want more high quality, in-depth darts videos like this, you're going to be seeing a lot of them over the next few weeks, months, and hopefully years. So if you did enjoy this video, it would mean the world to me if you give it a thumbs up. And also let me know, what are your thoughts? Are you going to be going to Q School anytime soon? Let me know below, and I'll see you in the next video.